Okay, we are on page 373 and we're doing writing equations. So, in order to do word problems, remember that you need to define your variables. I personally just write it as let x equal and let y equal. And then I say what those things are. So let's read the equation, or the number one. The sum of two numbers is 20.5. Their difference is 6.5. Find the two numbers. Okay, so I have two numbers. You can write them as first and second numbers. You can write it as one number and then the other number. I personally always write first number, second number. Okay, so we have the word sum. So because we have the word sum, that means there's addition going on. I'm adding the two numbers that they said we had, and that's going to equal 20.5. Then it says they're different, so that means I'm going to subtract the two numbers. As I'm looking at these, what do I notice? I notice that these two coefficients are opposite of each other. So all I have to do is add straight down. So that gets me 2x equals, that's going to be a 0. Raise that. It's a 7, that's a 27. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. If I do that, 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 7 3 times with 1 left over. And I don't know why I did that. And then 2 goes into 10 5 times. So my first number is 13.5. And I can write that over here if I want. Got 13.5. Then I plug it back in. Now, do you have to plug it back into the first? No. Could you plug it into the second? Yes. I personally want to plug it into the first. So I have x plus y equals 20.5. So I'm going to replace the x with 13.5 plus y equals 20.5. I'm going to subtract 13.5 from both sides. When I do that, I get y equals, that's a 0. I borrow, and that's a 7. So y is my second number. Now, remember that because we're interpreting, that means that I have to interpret this. I have to say what those numbers mean, or what those numbers mean. So 13.5 is the first number. And 7 is the second number. Okay, let's go to this next one. Tadeo volunteered at the library 6 times as many hours over the weekend as Dylan. Together, they volunteered a total of 14 hours. How many hours did each person volunteer over the weekend? So what are we looking for? We're looking for how many hours did each person. So I have to decide on x and y. I'll just write it right here. Okay. So let x equal the number of hours Tadeo worked. Let y equal the number of hours Dylan worked. Okay, so now we have our x and our y. So let's go up here. Now, I don't know if you remember, but verbs a lot of times are going to be our equal sign. So I'm going to be writing this. I'm going to look at the sentence and I'm going to write the sentence. I'm going to interpret the sentence. So Tadeo. Well, we decided that Tadeo was X. So I'm going to put X. And then it says volunteered. So I'm going to put equal sign. And it says 6 times as many hours over the weekend as Dylan. So that means he worked more hours than Dylan by 6 times the amount. Remember, times, that's multiplication. We have a 6. And then hours over the weekend is Dylan. So we're talking about Dylan. So that is our first equation. It's our first equation. Then I look at for my second equation. Okay? It says together. That means when I write that sentence, it's talking Tadeo's hours plus Dylan's hours. And you don't have to write this part out. I'm just doing this so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay? We're adding those two together. And how much do they equal? They equal a total of 14 hours. So over here, I'm going to take the amount of Tadeo's hours plus the amount of Dylan's hours, and together they worked 14 hours. Okay. So now I'm going to solve this. Well, elimination is probably not the easiest one to do on this one. I personally would take this and substitute in. Take this and plug it in for the x. So I get 6y plus y equals 14. I combine like terms. I divide by 7. And I get y equals 2. Okay. Then I plug in x equals 6y. I replace the y with 2. So x equals 6 times 2. So x equals 12. So yes, I have the point where they intersect, but now I have to interpret what they're saying. What does this mean? It means that Tadeo worked 12 hours and Dylan worked 2 hours. Okay, right here. Tiana placed 2 orders for flowers and bushes. The first order was 24 flowers and 6 bushes. The total of the first order was $144. The second order was 18 flowers and 3 bushes. The total for the second order is $90. What is the cost of each plant? So that's what we're looking for, the cost of each plant. Go. So let x equal the first thing. The first one was number, well, that was a horrible looking N. Number of flowers. Okay, she ordered flowers and bushes. So I'm going to do y equals number of bushes. Those are the 2 things that we're talking about. There are 2 orders. So if I'm talking about the first order, it says, remember, sorry, X stands for the flowers. So it says 24 flowers. So instead of writing flowers, I could write the letter X. So I have 24X. Then it says and. So and becomes our plus sign. 6 bushes. Well, we said number of bushes was y. So 6y. Then it says their total is $144. Then the second order, it says 18 flowers. Remember, flowers are X. So I have 18 flowers. And that's my plus sign. We have 3 bushes, and bushes we said was Y. So 3Y equals, they say the total right here is 90. Okay. So if I look at these, are any of the coefficients opposite each other? 18 and 24 are not opposites of each other. And 24 isn't divisible by 18 evenly. So let's look at the y's. 6 and 3 are not the same, nor are they opposites of each other, but 3 does go into 6 evenly. So I personally am picking, let's pick a different color. I'm picking for these right here to be opposites of each other. And in order to make them opposites of each other, I need to make 3 into -6. So what am I going to do? I am going to multiply this bottom one by -2. So I'm going to get -36x minus 6y. Sorry. -180. And I'm going to write the first original equation below it. Now, looking at this, are these opposites of each other? Yes. They are going to make 0. So I'm going to come down over here and I'm going to use a different color. And I'm going to add straight down. When I add straight down, -36 x plus 24 is going to get me -12x. That turned to 0, so then I'm going to come over here. It's negative. That's going to be 6 because I borrowed this. And that's going to be 36. So I'm going to divide both sides by -12. Remember your negatives, boys and girls. Don't let them just go away. So that becomes 3. Okay, so I'll just write it over here. 3. And then I'm going to plug it back into one of my 2 original equations. I don't know. I'll just do the first one. I don't care. So 24x plus 6y equals 144. I'm replacing x with 3. 24 times 3 plus 6y equals 144. That's going to get me 12. That's going to get me 72. Plus 6y equals 144. I subtract 72 from both sides. I get 6y equals 72. I divide both sides by 6. Y equals 12. So, yes, but now I have to interpret what that means. What does that mean? I want to do this. So, X is number of flowers. So, no, it's not. Miss Grambois messed up. Do you notice right here? It wants the cost. So Miss Grambois messed up on this, which is not unusual, boys and girls. It does not want the number. It wants the cost of flowers. It wants the cost of bushes. So, flowers cost $3. Bushes cost $12. Notice where the dollar sign goes. Okay. Sorry about that. I need to pay more attention to that. Mrs. Adesso wanted to take her class on a trip to either the Science Center or Natural History Museum. The Science Center costs $7 per student plus $75 for a guided tour. The Natural History Museum charges $8 per student plus $50 for a guided tour. What number of students is the cost of the trip the same at each museum? So what is the number of students and then the cost of the trip? So those are the two things we're looking for. So let X equal number of students. Let Y equal the cost per, or the cost, I don't want to do per, of trip. So here we go. We're going to write equations, but let's look at this. So Science Center. So it's total cost for the Science Center. Oh, I don't want to do that. Come on. I want to write Science Center. And now write the equation. So its total cost is going to be Y equals. Then it says $7 per student. Remember, when it has $7 per student, that means that we're going to take 7 and we're going to multiply it by X. Because one student would be 7 times 1. 2 students would be 7 times 2. 3 students would be 7 times 3. So we're taking the $7 and we're multiplying it by how many students there are. That is our slope, or our rate of change. Plus, because it says the word plus, 75. Then we have the Natural Museum. The Natural History. We got the word history. Museum. So we're talking about its total cost. Okay? It's $8 per student. So 8x plus sign, $50 for a guided tour. Okay. Here we go. Because it says Y equals and Y equals, the easiest one to do is to set them equal to each other. So I'm going to take this right here and I'm going to plug it in for this Y right here. So 7x plus 75 equals 8x plus 50. I subtract 7x from both sides. I get 75 equals x plus 50. I subtract, oh, sorry about that. I subtract 50 from both sides, and I get 25 is equal to x. So we're going to put that right here, 25. Then I plug this into either one of the equations. I'm just going to do the first one. So 7 times 25 plus 75. And that's a 5, that's a 3, that's a 14, that's a 175. Oh, I should have known that. And then that's going to be a 0, that's going to be a 5, 250. So $250. So what does this mean? It wants to know when the cost of both of them is exactly the same. And how do I know what is exactly the same? Because it tells me. The X is the number of students. So at 25 students, both trips cost $250. Okay. So this one says it costs $5 per hour to rent snowboards from a certain ski company, plus $50 deposit. Another ski rental company charges $10 per charge or per hour to rent a snowboard plus $25 deposit. For what number of hours is the cost to rent a snowboard the same at each company? What is the cost of renting a snowboard for this number of hours? Okay, so here we go. It wants to know what number of hours and the cost for a snowboard. So I have two companies. Sorry, trying to get this. So here we go. We're going to do let X equal number of hours. What's the other thing we want? The cost. Total cost. So we write an equation. So, I say so a lot. I'm going to pick this one. First company. We're looking at the first company. It says $5 per hour. So, Y equals 5 per hour. And then plus, that's our plus sign, $50 deposit. Plus $50. Then our second company, okay, it says $10 per hour. So Y equals $10 per hour. And plus $25 deposit. Okay, now it wants us to solve. So again, I personally would do substitution, and I would plug that in right there. And when I plug, I'm going to move it over here a little bit though. 5x plus 50 equals 10x plus 25. I know I should have written that over more, but that's okay. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. I'm going to get 50 is equal to 5x plus 25. I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. I get 25 equals 5x. And then 5 is equal to x. Okay, so we've got our x value, that's 5. Now we want our y value. So I'm going to plug it into one of the two original equations. I'm just going to pick the first one. It doesn't matter which one we do. We just found out that x was equal to 5. So I'm going to replace x with 5. I get 25 plus 50 equals 75. So what does that mean? At the number of hours of 5, it's going to cost $75. Okay, let's do number 6. It says, at a farmer's market, Amar purchased 4 jars of salsa and 3 cucumbers and spent a total of $12.50. Dylan purchased 1 jar of salsa and 2 cucumbers and spent a total of $4. Dakota purchased 1 jar of salsa and 5 cucumbers. If each jar of salsa costs the same and each cucumber costs the same, how much did Dakota spend? Okay, so what are the two things we're talking about? We're talking about jars of salsa and cucumbers. So I'm going to do let x equal number, nope, cost. I don't even want to write it like that. I want to write it in words. Cost of a jar of salsa. Let y equal the cost of cucumbers. Okay, so it says jars of salsa, so that's x. cucumbers is y. And means plus. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write my equation. It says 4x plus 3y, and then total is equal to 1225. Then we're talking about Dylan, jar of salsa, cucumbers, plus sign. So 1x, but I'm not writing 1x, I'm just writing x, plus 2 cucumbers. So 2 cucumbers equals $4. Now, you could solve for x and then plug it in, but I personally like to do elimination. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get this coefficient right here to be the opposite of 4. So I'm going to multiply this by -4. When I multiply by -4, I get -4x minus 8y equals -16. Make sure that you're multiplying everything by that -4. I'm going to write my 4x. All I'm doing is bringing this down below, plus 3y equals 1225. Then I'm going to add my two equations together. Okay, so this will get me -5y equals, it's going to be negative, that's going to be, I'm going to borrow here. So that's going to be 5, that's going to be 7, it's going to be $3.75. Now, or -3.75. All I'm doing is bringing this up here just so that I can finish this problem, because there wasn't a lot of room. So I divide by -5. Y equals, the negative divided by a negative is a positive. 5 doesn't go into 3 evenly. 5 goes into 35, 7 times, or 37, so it's 75 cents. So Y is 75 cents. Now let's find X. So I'm going to use the second equation. So X plus 2Y equals 4. So X plus 2 times 0.75 equals 4. X plus $1.50 equals 4. So I'm going to subtract $1.50 from both sides. I don't know why I wrote a 2 there. X equals 0. I'm going to borrow. That's going to be $2.50. So what does that mean? X is the cost of a jar of salsa. Okay. A jar of salsa costs $2.50. This is not what it's asking for, though. A cucumber, I like how I don't know how to spell cucumber today, costs 75 cents. But that's not what it's asking for. It wants to know how much Dakota is going to spend. So Dakota bought 1 jar of salsa plus 5 cucumbers. So we're going to find her total cost, or his total cost. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. So I'm going to take 1 and I'm going to multiply it by $2.50. That's not why I stopped. I need more space. Actually, give me a second and let me write it over here so I have some more space and I use a different color. 1 jar plus 5 cucumbers. So 1 times 250 plus 5 times 75. So that's $2.50, obviously. And then that's going to be 5. That's a 2. That's 35. That's 37. So $3.75. And I add those together and I get 5. I get 2, carry it to that, and I get $6.25. So Dakota spends $6.25. Okay.